Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the Quickview series. This one brought to you once again by you. This episode was brought to you by all of you. The Canyoneros, the followers of the Canyon. Someone wanted me to test the Dumbo RC DDF-350. So they ordered one and they had it sent here on the way to them so that we may do the thing. And I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. I haven't opened it. We're not doing MT12 on this one, where I live with it for a while and steep myself in frustration. We're going to unbox it. This is, holy cats! This is the 10-channel receiver version, and they are not messing around. If you have to put room for 10 channels worth of plugs, that's a big boy. It says real-time telemetry. It's probably battery voltage. I'm going to guess receiver, and then this probably goes straight into like the balance plug. I don't know. We'll find out how instructive this... Oh, please let there be an English side. Okie doke. Yes. All right. Because, however you might feel about it, intuitiveness of a radio, for me, is perhaps paramount. Like, I want to be able to do what I just did. I want to be able to take the radio out of the box. I want to discover what type of power units. And does it have a removable tray? Looks like it. I don't want to break brand new things, but it's got two little tabs in there. My initial instinct is to attack everything with a screwdriver, even without reading the manual to see if it will support a LiPo. Now, my instinct, my inkling, is that it will support a LiPo, as if it doesn't, you don't tend to attach your battery tray with a JST. Boy, that boy is convinced, because looking at the size of that battery tray, it is just too small to fit a big Gen Zeiss 3800. So, no other offenses to the Dumbo. It's only been here for a couple minutes, but I don't think it's being unfair. But to me, that is strike one. Functionality of the radio might be superb, so we have to hope for that. It is always a pros and cons list being assembled whenever we test something like this. And we're already starting off. This one, you have the option of foam knob, metal knob. Now, metal knob, probably a great option if you drive gloved or if you drive where it's very cold. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like metal knobs, but I know that there is a foam knob version. So that is neither a for nor an against. So we plug the battery back in, as we cannot fit a LiPo in it. And if we cannot fit that LiPo in it, we need to check two. Check two. This is a cell holder for 18650s. That will also not fit. And honestly, there's no reason for it not to fit, as I guarantee you there's nothing in there. So I can't run this on 18650s. I can't run it on 3800 LiPo, which means the 2800 LiPos won't fit, which means, honestly, as I said, we are going to find out again. It shouldn't be, right? I can't get the door back on. There's nothing interfering. We're in. it really... I can't get the battery door back on. All right, do not remove your battery tray. It does not appear to be handed in any way. It is absolutely handed. It won't click into place under the little clickies if you try to install it the other way. Battery door still fits remarkably tight. We've got 56% on our internal batteries. We've definitely got some MT12 stuff with the fancy lights and stuff. Let us hope that it is not remarkably difficult to change the display language. It's a good looking display. We have struck 2 again. Here is how to adjust channels. The transmitter and the receiver have finished binding by default, so they're already bound together. Long press the power button for about 2 seconds to turn on the transmitter and enter the main interface. Okay, no, that turns it off. Okay. Okay, so it's a quick press. And then the problem is none of that. Okay, obviously that's return. Wait, maybe this one? Nope, that's return. There we go. It's not too bad. Well, it would have cost an additional 2 cents. Instead of just putting a power symbol on there, just put like enter, return, function, something on there. Break, which is also return. It's a good looking display. It's channel 5, channel 6. I like the trim. I like the beep on center. That's a plus point. They're also very difficult to get centered, and for funsies, I can't get this one centered. I can't get this one on 0. There we go. And now, if you'll notice, the 2 knobs are just ever so slightly. This one aims a little more forward, so the pots aren't centered to each other. That's channel 7. I like the little teardrops there. Little 3 position. Pretty handy. Does it have a lower? Oh, yeah. That's 8. Nine is a 2 position. 10 is a 2 position. I mean, I guess you could use those with this hand. Otherwise, I don't know what you're using those for. I'm going to assume from here that we have the keys of channel 3, 4, and 8 through 10 can be set to locking signal or inching signal, which is, I assume, what they mean to be momentary. We have curves. This isn't too bad. I mean, in terms of units that use a scroll wheel that is also the enter button, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. There is, ergonomically, we're all right. We're pretty good. Trigger is a little oversprung and not, I mean, trigger is a little sprung and non-adjustable. The wheel is heavily oversprung and non-adjustable because you can feel the kind of heft of the wheel. You might not think it would be the case, but fatigue is real. You could get into fatigue with this. So we've got a boy here who doesn't get cleaned because he works for a living and he runs every day, all day long, on a Radiolink RC4GS. And that RC4GS runs on one of those very Gen Zace 3800 lipos because he gets used more than every vehicle here, probably combined. He tests every tire, servo, motor, speed control, with few exceptions. So we were going to pop out his RC6FG. 1 signal and 2 signal. And it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It says that it is pre-bound, so we will operate off of that assumption, which means we're just going to slap the cover back on. I'm not bothering with this at the moment. I have neither the strength nor the energy or confidence as, let me find a shim here. We need a shim. If we shim up the toe of this, there you go. Watch that battery voltage indicator for the internal battery, which is now sitting rock solid on 41. What? I've seen it go to 52 and down to like 39. So I'm not 100% sure what we're actually measuring. It's kind of fun to watch it bounce around. We've got a battery that is nowhere near fully charged, but it'll get the job done. Will it not? We have to hope. Now we need to do basic things, which is we need to set the steering input for just a split second. That for 39, 41. When I picked it up and went like this, it went to 50. Yeah, no, they're not fresh double A's. I try, as I have mentioned, not to run any radio here off of double A cells because it's a money pit. It just is. There's no excuse for a modern radio not to fit 18650s or a typical LiPo. And most battery trays on most radios have gotten quite voluminous if they're not Fly Sky radios. Very Fly Sky format on the bottom down there. And as I mentioned, there's no reason for it just went 50-39. There's no reason for it not to be like this. Could just be hollow and you should just be able to fit big 2800s in there. We are going to set endpoints is our goal. That's what we hope. That's rudder reading. Channel phase, there's reversing, and we don't need to reverse. We do need to reverse our throttle. That's nice. That's points, right? Okay, that was easy. And then the power button will just return. You don't have to go all the way up to brake to return. So we go back to general. Oh, I like it. It will stay on the page that you were on. That's good. There we go. Endpoint steering. Now, my eyes are not young, but you can kind of tell. But if I went like this, what one's it on? There we are. Rotary knob 6. All right. Then we click it, right? Oh, okay. Plus points here. When we steer that way, we know which way we're steering. Oh, look at this. It's got blinkers. You're bringing it back, Dumbo RC. You're bringing it back. Okay, so we steer that way. Luckily for me, we're at about 100% either way. So it was not hypercritical. Power off. Power back on. It's like the quietest motor. Neutral. Full speed. Right, we're great. And that should be about what it's like to set up a radio. We have all the we have all the endpoints that one would expect. Are there other endpoint channels? Because here we have endpoint adjustment on steering, throttle, rotary knob 5, and rotary knob 6. So what do we do if we want to set this for our dig channel that is channel 8? Oh, okay. There we go. It just has plus and minuses for the aux channels. K3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so they are not reassignable. Like 10 is 10 and 8 is 8. But, yeah. So you're just going to have to plug it into that channel. So I would have to have, if this gentleman had dig in him, dig would have to be plugged into channel 8. But then it would be no problem to set the A, B, the endpoints on dig. So it's fine. It's fine. Other ergonomic complaint. This is not the first time I've seen this featured on a new radio. I would also like to ask, for whom? For whom? It's becoming a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to put a wheel at an angle, either put it adjustable or don't. Because that aims the wrong way. Unless you're driving with your controller facing towards you like that, then it's kind of okay. If you hold it like this is ergonomically terrible because you have to put your wrist out here like this. I don't like it. Just put it straight. Also, I understand we're moving tighter and tighter and tighter in this way. I'm assuming to promote one-handed. The reach is too far. You mortals are not driving this one-handed without some sort of extension coming off because the wheel is pretty far forward from where the back is over here. I can just reach it, and as I have pointed out in the past, I don't have normal human thumbs. My thumb reaches all the way back around to where my index finger is. The grip size is fine. It will fit a big hand. I feel it will fit a small hand. It's a little long and narrow. We're talking single stack, like 45 magazine right here. It's not the most comfortable grip I've ever felt. I'm also not a fan of the fake carbon fiber. Just put rubber on there. We've got a lanyard loop. We've got the assorted things. Oh, we're down to 36%. I don't know who the turn signals are for, but I like them. I guess to remind you which way you're steering. Well, obviously, the weight is nice and light. It's a radio you can carry all day. I still think this tension is too high. I still think this tension is overly high. I also think that the starting trigger position is out too far. This would need a little gut out, and the trigger should be back right about there. But that's different for everyone, so I get that. Programming's not terrible. I don't know how valuable the battery telemetry is. We lose many, many points for the inability to just slap a LiPo, or more precisely an 18650 in there. This thing should just have a tray in the bottom that just takes two 18650s. It's the 21st century. There's absolutely no reason under the sun to be running these things on AA batteries. We shouldn't even have to carry AA batteries with us anymore. We don't need a 4-cell AA pack for our nitros anymore. I want to press, now that I'm sticking the body clips in, I really want to press channel 3 and 4 just to see. They're two position. I like the little teardrops, man. It shows you what channel is in what. I don't think without a lot of tinkering that this is the setup for if you have something that's four-wheel steer. As a matter of fact, do we even have that kind of... Okay, we do have a LiPo. It will support 2S and 3S LiPo, provided you can get one to fit. Steering calibration. Model renaming, model copy. Coaching model on the output, LED mode dynamic. Nothing I really need. We got as far as aux channel key type. Yeah, there we can set inching. K8 is set to inching, which inching is momentary. And oh no, they are all remappable. I mean, if they're all remappable, I mean, I guess it, yeah, maybe don't put channel 8, channel 9, channel 10, and then let's remap channel 8 to, oh wait, no. Let's remap channel 3 to key 8. So now channel 3 is this. Channel 3 and 8 are it simultaneously. Oh, so you can do a little mixing. Oh, speaking of mixing, did anyone see a mix menu in there? We got remapping. Okay, rudder reading, right? That's just a display. Channel phase, endpoints, subtrims on 1 and 2, aux channel definition. So key 7 is the only 3 position, it looks like. That's fine. Key type, whether we're locking or inching, remapping. Okay, so I don't see mixing of any kind. Sound, brightness, power, no. Okay. So we don't have channel mixing. And without channel mixing, we're not getting cruise control. That's a shame. 10 channels without mixing is pretty... Wait, gyro mixing. Oh, the gyroscope of the receiver is turned off by fault. I don't need a gyro. Then we get gyro reverse. We don't need gyros. Yeah. Then the lack of... The deal is broken for me already. We've got a pretty display, and there's a lot that I like about the display. I don't really see the functionality for these too much. I guess you could set them up as lockers on a TRX4, but honestly, they're not ergonomically fun. They're not easy to turn. They're not easy to reach. And they have a horrendous amount of throw. There's 100% one way, and there's 100% the other way. They are basically 360-degree revolution. And getting them, there's no detent at 0. So getting it back to 0 is nearly impossible. Maybe the drive feel will be different. I don't know. It doesn't pass a bunch of pretests for me. Now, if you evaluate those pretests with your own criteria, and these are not things that are sticking issues for you, then I'll think you'll be fine. But just please do bear them all in mind. I couldn't even get outside, and that's a good thing, because someone right now that owns one of these is yelling at the screen, RTFM! And I don't. I want it to be clear. I don't read the manual on purpose, because you should not design something so inscrutable that I can't find things. Put things in a logical place. There is indeed channel mixing. We have full channel mixing, and they are hidden under model. They are hidden under the model menu, which I hadn't gotten into. And we've got cruise control. I would rather start... I guess we'll just start cruise control with K8. So it's already in here. So we're flying right back. Like, I glanced down. How did I even see it? I was picking up the equipment to head outside. Oh, yeah. The little 2-page leaflet was open. And under model menu, I saw gyro mix, tank mix, winch mix, program mix 1. So I did the click. Well, let's go all the way out. I just I was like, oh, interesting. We're down to 32%. I went model menu, and the first thing that comes up is cruise control. Start with K8, setting is VR6, which is this one right here. I would prefer it on VR5. I don't know what mode 2 is. All right, let's turn it on. That's a big point in the plus column for me, because I drive a lot of these and I drive them for extended periods of time, and channel mixing is critical. And the fact that it is built in. Oh, and here's where the curves are. Steering curve, throttle brake curve. There's your gyro mix, which we have gyro turned off. There's your tank mix for doing four-wheel steer. There's your, the winch mix. Look at that. Nice. So for all you winchers out there, you may be willing to, and then we just have a program mix where we can mix two channels. We have PMix 1 and PMix 2, which is very similar to what RadioLink has. So again, we're coming back. We're coming back. I think that the interface, I want to see how low, we're down to 30 or 33, 31, whatever you choose to believe. We're definitely coming back. The lack of lipo and some faults in ergonomics are top of the bottom list for me. But the fact that I can do this, excellent. All right, we're good. We're all good on that. And I don't know. Now we will go outside and we will see. Maybe it'll change my mind. We're down to we're 40, 32. We're going to see if the batteries, according to this, even last for the whole shebang. I've said it many times, and I will say it many more times, which is I learn a lot in the drive from the shop to the course. I have to carry 2 tripods and 2 cameras, which means I am forced in that period to drive one-handed. So cruise control helps a great deal. It doesn't help that much here because that channel 8 button is, it's not that it's too low, it's that it's so flush to the carcass here that pressing it is an uncertain operation. The surface of the button does not rise above the surface of the plastic. When I go like this, it's just flush. And it needs to rise. Also, when I said that you mortals aren't driving one-handed, you're not. You're not. It's knurled metal, but there's no grip. There's no grip, and the wheel tension in use, not just fingering it on the bench, is impossibly high. Like, it is firm. So let me tell you a little something. I'm going to tell you a little something here in a second. What we have is when I am doing this and I go like that, I can feel the tension in my shoulder. That's how firm the wheel tension is. And there's definitely something about that angle, the angle that the wheel is at, that basically takes torque away from you. And I know you could dial in a curve, but I feel like this throw, see how that's like a typical amount of throw, maybe a little less. The throw might be actually shorter relative to other radios. It feels so long because it might be one of the highest trigger tensions and wheel tensions that I have ever felt. I constantly feel the pressure of the trigger, back pressure against my finger, and the amount of oomph that I have to apply to the wheel basically there's no other way to phrase it. it is bad to a point that it is compromising my ability to drive, because it basically kills your fine point control. Think of something that you have to hold at arm's length. Would you rather hold something that weighs, which would you rather hold at arm's length? A baseball or a 5-pound barbell? That's kind of what this is. And there is definitely no screw to adjust the tension. And the big metal wheel doesn't help. The ergonomics of it are not as bad as, say, a FlySky G4P, which is kind of my, what's the opposite of gold? Whatever the opposite of gold is to apply as a standard. I don't want to badmouth paper mache. What's a terrible semi-hard substance that nobody wants to touch? Is it the poop standard? I don't want to go to poop, but the G4P is the poop standard for ergonomics. It's a terrible feeling radio. The steer feel is god-awful. It has that plastic knob. This metal knob isn't any better than that plastic knob. I mean, foam is an option. Also, today, it is, storm is coming. So it's not that cold outside. This knob is colder than my hands. That's why we don't, why we never supported metal knobs in shift knobs in cars. Because on a hot day, it's like grabbing the wrong end of a soldering iron. And on a cold day, well, it's like grabbing a frozen shift knob. I can't accurately judge how much tension I'm putting on my steering. I just know that the amount of pressure that you have to place on the wheel is far too much. And the trigger tension, okay. I'm trying to figure out how to display this. This is your body, and this is your arm, and this is the front of the pit. This is your armpit up in here. This is where your arm meets, inner shoulder, right? Whoop, whoop, whoop. I feel tension here when I pull the trigger and when I turn the wheel. I should not feel it at the tops of my arms. At most, I should feel it in the forearm, but you have to squeeze. And I think what it is well, let's get down a little more. What we're trying to do is hold a trigger position, right? It doesn't look like anything, right? There's an amount of pressure that I'm having to apply that is just so far above and beyond what I'm typically used to applying. This is the opposite of the Radio Master MT12. If you're going to make a trigger and wheel that are non-adjustable, we're hovering about that 31% on the battery 30. I've seen as low as 29 and as high as 33. It just kind of bounces around. I don't know how useful a monitor is that is just constantly all over the place. Our SSI is our signal strength, right? Well, let me drive over here and see. I don't know. I don't know what that number means either, because it just seems to move on its own. If I move the radio in my hand, I can get up to like 66%. Yeah, I have to apply so much pressure on a selection of fingertips. Now, for you guys that need those functions, for you guys out there that need 10 channels for things that you don't have to operate on the fly, or even, okay, so if you set this up for dig and you use this three-way with nice detents on it and it's in a good placement, you know, your variable overdrive on your Phoenix is here and your dig is here. That's great. You can set your winches up on the channel 3/4 thing. Yeah, I absolutely get it. But God, what could have been, you know? Because the way I see it is what we have is, we've got polar opposites right now. The hardware, I don't like on almost every level. There's not even, so I leave a dangle, like it just hangs on my hand like this. not comfortable. Not like the weight of the wheel wants to pull it out, like it wants to pull it out of your hand. So you constantly feel it's light. Like I say, it's an all day, but I think the metal knob weighs about as much as the batteries, so the balance is just off. It's just off. If I could have shoved a 3800 in the bottom of it, I'd be a lot happier about it. Yeah, we can run 2S and 3S LiPo, but you're gonna have to find 2S and 3S LiPos that fit. It makes me tense. And delicate motions, because the trigger tension is so high. Maybe someone else, this is not a flex, I have strong hands. My hands are built to do strength things more than they are to do fine function. So I have multiple sets of tweezers on my workbench because I literally can't get 2.5 millimeter screws out of a bucket with these meat claws. They're too big, and I lack that super fine dexterity. So my right shoulder is getting tense, and this is not a livable radio for me. All I can think about this whole time, we're gonna pop that. All I can think about this whole time is the amount of pressure that I'm having to put on the trigger and the wheel. It's all I can think about. I can't think about anything else. Aside from the fact that when I let it free dangle, it's kind of giving me pressure points. So we have an inverse Radio Master MT12. We have a radio that the software inside, once you figure out the basics of it, and it's real basic, like what menu is the adjustment I want to make hiding in. Like, I don't know why, why is some stuff in system and some stuff in model? We're down to 24% on the AA's, by the way. And when I first plugged them in, it said 54. Now, I assume one of the, like, not fresh AA's, one of them is probably low, but crazy. Instead of battery percentage, how about you just tell me battery voltage? You know, that would help. So much concentration required. And I'd like to make a shout out right here at this point. And he'll know when I lean in close to the mic and I say, "Did you see how easy baseline went through gate 1? Did you see it?" There's a very specific person out there. He's gonna know, and he's gonna curse at the screen that he's watching it on, because baseline kills gate 1, man. Just kills it. If I had to formulate a closing thought, I'm going to paraphrase the questioner, because the questioner isn't asking the exact question that I need to ask. The questioner had originally asked, "How do you feel about that fall, Mr. Horse?" And I'm gonna change that question to, "How do you feel about the Dumbo RC DDF-350?" And I'm going to quote Mr. Horse when I say,
"No, sir, I don't like it."
Because let's put it down the way let's pick it up the way I'm putting it down. Ergonomics are number one in a radio, because it is the sole interface between me and this guy. It is remote control. He's over there. I'm over here. The only way we have to talk is this. If you're a smartphone user, have you ever not used a speakerphone or an earbud and tried to press a glass and metal brick up against the side of your head? It's horrible. Those were clearly never designed to do that. So we're asking it, but it still has it. It still has a speaker at one end and a microphone at the other. So, like, that's in the design. This fails on those same levels. We've got the trims. We're down to 23% battery or 31%, depending on what you like to believe. There's stuff that I like about it. The clear color display that show. I mean, I can't. There's nothing I can fault about the color display because it shows me information. That 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the ones down at the bottom where, like, see, I've got my preset, but look at my preset for channel 5, which is my cruise control. Do you see it jittering 75, 76? I don't know if the pots are overly sensitive or not sensitive enough. I don't know what it is precisely that does that, but basically all of the physical interfaces, which are the things that I come into contact with, this is the only one I like. I like this 3-position guy right here. Excellent placement. Nothing else do I like. We've got a USB-C on the side for charging, I'm assuming, if you put something that's rechargeable. So close, you know. Others might use this and go, I don't have a problem with it. But as ergonomics are what I rank above all other aspects, we're not passing here. He's just lining them up for 7. So, there you go. Functionally, I think it's going to be fine. If you're not opposed to the completely flush switches on the handle, okay, see where 3, 4 are? Right up here? I mean, I guess you're going to have to, like, say you have your winch set up on that winch control on 3, 4, you're going to have to let go of the wheel to winch. Now, if this, instead of a little decorative piece, was a button, or a button here and a button here, I mean, these are failures in industrial design. That's all I can figure. It's not wildly comfortable. What I want to hear desperately, here's what I want to hear in the comments. If you have experience, if you have personal, in your hand experience with the DDF-350, not something you've heard from someone else, not something you saw in a video or something you read. If you have held one of these in your hands and you have a normal human-sized hand, tell me if you have the same problems that I do. Also, are there people that like that, where the knob is facing the wrong way? Because that knob should face this way. And I don't know why it doesn't. It's the same way on the radio that comes with the Red Cat, whatever, which is, I believe, is a Dumbo, is a rebadged Dumbo. Why is Dumbo RC putting that knob facing the wrong direction? Somebody answer these questions for me. Answer me, I got to think of another question so you can answer me these questions 3. And what was the thinking in making the battery tray be 2/3 the size of the foot? So that you can't just fit, like, the width is fine. If this battery tray was 5 millimeters longer, there'd be a 3800 lipo in there, and my list of complaints would be reduced by at least 1. But there you go. I hope a couple of things here in closing. I hope, firstly, that the gentleman who paid for this and had it stop here on its journey to its final destination in his hands, I hope that his experience with this is radically different than it is with mine. I don't want people to dislike this. If you have big hands and you have a borderline obsession with ergonomics, you're probably not going to like it. The non-standard size battery tray, the very GT5 size battery tray, is problem number 1. The feeling of the grip on my hand, the wheel tension, the trigger tension, all that stuff. But the software, if we could insert this software into where Edge TX lives, if this software lived in the MT-12, that's a nearly perfect radio. Nearly perfect. So we land right back where we started. The battery, that doo-doo-doo was the battery voltage momentarily dropping down to like 17%. It seems to be, as I like wiggle it around, we can really change what the voltage is. So we're getting to low voltage on the battery already. And when I plugged them in, they said 54, so who knows? This is a quick view, not in terms of time, but in terms of this radio has been in my hand for the entirety of the filming sequence. So this is basically an expanded first impression. And yeah, it's whenever the battery percentage drops below 20%, you get a beep boop boop. Oh, then I am so glad that I didn't plug the battery monitor in, because this one came out at 3.8 volts and it would probably be beep boop boop the whole time we're out here. So I want everything to be awesome. I want everything to be great all of the time. But this is, sadly, this is reality. And if everything is awesome, then nothing is awesome. This radio is not awesome because there are other radios that are awesome. So, there you have it. The Dumbo DDF-350. Certainly not for me. Take away from this what you will. I hope that the purchaser has a better experience. I hope that you all have a better day than the experience that I have had with it. It is not an abject failure, but I think it fails even. We would almost like it more if it were an abject failure. You know, you want the movie to be truly bad. Nobody remembers a 7. This radio is a hard 7 out of 10. And why are you going to buy a 7 when you can do a lot better? There you go, everybody. It's a review, and a review is an opinion. And this is my opinion, and I feel like I'm qualified to issue this opinion, as I have a little bit of experience with radios. I've been handling them for over 30 years, and I still hope for the return of some of the ergonomics that we were given in the 1980s. We're not moving forward. The Dumbo RC DDF-350, I don't think it moves forward. Oh, every once in a while my battery percentage will drop to 10. All right, I am going to, as a woman from Texas has said many times on the telephone, I'm gonna have to let you go. So, Baseline had a rare day out on his original tires. He won't be upset to get his Radiolink RC4 back. I'm not running out and replacing any RC4s with this one because my hand is tired. I am not, this is not hyperbole, and I am not kidding. Also, that, I would have to turn it off. I would have to turn the battery monitoring off. I can't live with it. There are too many things that are unlivable, that are not offset enough by the things that are good. I know that a lot of you guys that winch are looking for the winch control and the mix controls. I couldn't ignore the some things for the other things. Ooh, we Midwested this one, didn't we? We took this one, we took it to the limit. This thing is just gonna beep beep boop. Yeah. I guess this is a better luck next time moment, isn't it? I feel like it is. And until next time, I wish you better luck. Here in the after credit scene, this is one of those. It was doing cable guy syndrome on me. The whole time I was staging this to take a thumbnail, it does the low battery indicator about once every 2 seconds or so, just non-stop. Now, unlike other radios, it doesn't like take all the control away from you. You can still use it, but it just goes beep beep boop constantly. While moving things around and setting this up, it just beep beep boop, beep boop boop. And I don't know what the voltage is set to, but it will go 12%, 25%, 8%, 30%. I wanted better.